Assalamu alaikum students. So today's topic is parametric equations in rectangular form. As we know that to write parametric equations in rectangular form, you must eliminate the parameter using the following process. Now in the rectangular form, we have only x and y. We know that our parametric equations are given in terms of t, a parameter. What we want to do is in this topic is we're going to change x and y from this dependent they are depending on t. We will make sure that we convert it into rectangular form by writing in terms of only x and y and eliminating this parameter t. So when we get only x and y in the equation, that is called a rectangular form. Like we did in polar, converting polar to rectangular form, we were getting rid of the theta, sine theta, cos theta, and getting only our radius and getting answers only in terms of x and y. So here, use the following process. The first step is solve one parametric equation for t, and then substitute the resulting expression into the other parametric equation and simplify. Let's start with the example. Write each pair of parametric equations in rectangular form. Note any restrictions in the domain. As we did the example, the t could be there could be a parametric interval which is provided. So keeping that in mind. In this case, there is no interval provided for t. So the first step would be solve one parametric equation for t. So I'm going to do this one. I'm going to solve first one equation for t. So this will give me 4t equals x plus 1. I'm just solving for t from this. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. I get t equals x over 4 plus 1 over 4. Now I'm going to substitute this value of t into that. So I get y equals 6 minus t, which is x over 4 plus 1 over 4. Right? So I get y equals 6 minus x over 4 minus 1 over 4. I distributed its negative sign, and I get my final equation as y equals negative x over 4 plus 6 minus 1/4 is 23 over 4. So this is my final rectangular form only in terms of y and x. Okay, these are the two parametric equations because they are both depending on t. That's why they are called parametric equations, where t is the parameter. I change these two into rectangular form. Now there is no t in this. You can see it's going to be a linear equation. So the same process is for question 2. I'm going to do question number 4, and then we will move on to question number 5, where it says an interval. So for this one, the first step is to solve for one equation, one parametric equation for t. So I'm going to start with this one. This looks easier. So I will have 2t equals y plus 7, and t is equal to, I'm going to divide both sides by 2, so I can just write this one half y plus 7. It's the same thing as dividing both sides. Now I'm going to plug in this into this one. Okay, so x equals t squared is all this, right? 1/2 of y plus 7 whole squared minus 3. I just substituted the value of t into this one. Okay, now I'm gonna get x equals 1/4 of y plus 7 whole squared of y plus 7 whole squared minus 3. I'm going to make it in rectangular form, meaning I'm going to find y equals something. I'm going to keep this as is. I'm going to move 3 to that side. It becomes x plus 3 equals 1/4 y plus 7 whole squared. Okay, I'm going to multiply by 4 on both sides so that I can get rid of this fraction. I get 4x 4 times x plus 3 equals y plus 7 whole squared. Now I want to solve for y, so I'm going to take the square root of both sides. When I take the square root of both sides, what do I get? When I take the square root of this, I get y plus 7. This squares cancels out. I get square root of 4 and x plus 3, positive or negative because I took the square root. So I get y plus 7 equals positive or negative. Square root of 4 is 2, so I get 2 x plus 3. This cannot come out, this stays inside the square root. I'm solving for y. I get y equals, I subtract 7 plus minus 2 square root x plus 3 minus 7. Okay, this is going to be my final rectangular form. Okay, now let's do another example. X equals to 1/2 t minus 3, y equals t squared minus 7, where t is between 2 and 8. So first of all, what are we going to do is we are going to change it into the rectangular form. Once we get the rectangular form, then we will take note of the restrictions. Okay, so I'm going to solve. I'm going to find the value of t from this one, because here I have t squared. That would be difficult for me to solve initially, so that's why I'm going to do here. So I'm going to do here, I'm going to add 3 on both sides. I get x plus 3 equals 1/2 of t. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 so that I can get rid of 2. I get 2x plus 3 equals to t, which gives me t equals 2x plus 6. Once I get this, I substitute this into that one. I get, let me use another pen. I get y equals t squared 2x plus 6 whole squared minus 7. Make sure you apply the you FOIL here, so you get y equals 2x plus 6 times 2x plus 6. I can show you here, which is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, okay, which will give me 4x squared plus 24x plus 36 minus 7. I end up with y equals 4x squared 24x and plus 29. This is my final rectangular form. As I know that y is depending on x, but initially in the question it says that x is depending on t. Okay, so my restriction for the domain is, for this one, t is between 2 and 8. So what will be the restriction for x here? So I want to plug in this t into this, because a final equation y is depending on x. I'm going to plug in this t to check out what are the restrictions, what x values are we actually going to be taking. So when I take t, because it's between 2 and 8, I'm going to take, if t is 2, I get what? 1/2 times 2 is 1. 1 minus 3 is -2. So the restrictions for x are -2, between -2 and 8. So if t is 8, I get 1/2 of 8 is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. This means my x lies between 1 and -2. This is my restriction for domain. Okay, the same we are going to do. First of all, what we are going to do is we are going to plug in the value of t square of t, solve for t square, both have t squares, and then make sure a final answer, if you get y equals x something, make sure you plug in this t into this equation for x, because there is a restriction for the domain. Okay, and then write the interval for both. I hope you understand this topic, parametric equations in rectangular form. Assalamu alaikum.